Hi, I'm Kevin Midas, and Animorphs is the best YA book series of all time. Fight me.
Go Animorphs, Jake's the leader of course. Marco tells his jokes, Cassie she loves her horse. Hope Rachel never croaks, and Tobias so fly he saw her say, go Animorphs, go Animorphs, go Animorphs.
Animorphs, the science fantasy series written by K.A. Applegate and her husband Michael Grant, is the best YA series of all time. Fight me. In part 1, I've already established the undoubtable foundation of that argument. If you'd like to see the irrefutable evidence, check it out. It's linked in the description. Continuing to prove my thesis, last Friday night, in about 4 hours, I read book 2 of the series. And I just gotta say, I love how breezy these books are to read. The PDF version was only about 72 pages, and I was able to take notes and have my cousin and her fiance annoy me with talks about True Blood as I sat in the living room as if I wasn't the one in their way. As we've learned that Epstein even more obviously killed himself, our country continues to spiral into inept despair, and my life collapses like concrete beneath the feet of Visor 3's rock creature morph. Let's continue seeking peace by rereading a book series about 5 kids with absolutely no community to lean on, having to fight a war with impossible odds, and gaining a healthy dose of PG-13 PTSD along the way. Welcome to Animorphs Book 2, The Visitor, or as I like to call it, Rachel totally doesn't have any death flags in this book. On Earth, no one knew of the Yerks. No one but 5 kids who were having fun being birds and riding the thermals. Animorphs as a series rotates its point of view through the 5 teenage protagonists. Jake was up first, introducing us to the world, and in book 2, we switch to his cousin, the true badass of the team, Rachel, last name withheld. Getting to exist inside her head a bit, we learn more about Rachel as a character and expand upon the early elements of her personality. Unlike Jake, Rachel is a lot more reckless and way less forthcoming with the team. Within this one book, she reveals that she can morph to a sexually assaulting male, goes into an inescapable basement in a cat morph, and then goes back into that same basement again, despite the threat level being even higher, all while lying about many of the bigger details to the rest of the Animorphs. Considering her mom is a lawyer and her dad a weatherman, I'd say that makes sense. She learned from some of the world's best liars. Today's forecast is, you're guilty. Rachel does also have many good qualities. She's a pretty girl and a snazzy dresser, which leads some people to think she's stuck up, but she herself doesn't let vanity rule her life. Instead, she's worrying about how clumsy she is despite her mom's disagreements, and in general, she's more concerned about what's in a person's head and their heart. That's why she's best friends with Cassie, despite the fact that Cassie would wear overalls to a wedding if no one stopped her. And Rachel is a really great friend, not only to her fellow Animorphs, but also to Melissa Chapman as well. Melissa Chapman is a new character we're introduced to in this book. Besides Cassie, she was Rachel's other best friend. They even joined gymnastics together, but lately it seems they've grown apart. Melissa is the daughter of Vice Principal Chapman, a lieutenant controller infected by the Yerk Ennis 226, who's working directly with Visor 3 and once requested that the Animorphs get beheaded. Her mom, Mrs. Chapman, also happens to be a controller, leaving Rachel to wonder if her friend also has been Yerkified. Despite the fact that the Chapmans were both voluntary controllers, they're not the parents that you might assume upon first learning that. In fact, their love for their daughter is very, very powerful. How powerful? Well, let's dive into the summary like our wings just missed the thermal and find out. If they ever find us, it will be the end. They might kill us, or worse. Yes, there really is something worse than death. The story opens up with the kids, after failing to destroy the Kandrona ray beneath the school, taking a moment to enjoy some of the finer things offered in life by being an Animorph. Things like flying around as your chosen bird morph with your friends and playing pranks on asshole hunters who shoot at endangered animals. Whoa, folks, be careful. You're in danger yourself, in danger of becoming woke. After their failed attack, the door to the Yerk pool inside their school has been sealed. They need to find one of the others around the city. Deciding they can't bring any more attention to Jake's brother Tom, who they know to be a controller, they decide to spy on the only other controller whose identity they know, Vice Principal Chapman. Melissa Chapman, the Vice Principal's daughter, is their only way in. Though her and Rachel have grown apart, she still was once one of her best friends, and Rachel is initially hesitant about betraying her trust for espionage. In fact, she's growing to dislike how many secrets she has to keep keep from her mom and her little sisters too. However, convinced by Jake, she recognizes that only they know the truth and can save the world. She has to do what she must, no matter what. Post almost revealing their secret identities by half morphing into an elephant to scare off a would-be sexually assaulting man, Rachel is given a ride by none other than Chapman and Melissa, recounting the experience to the others and fudging the details a bit, like whatever Gloppy in Candyland is meant to be. She decides to sneak into the Chapman's house as Melissa's pet cat, Fluffer McKitty. I feel that name doesn't need a joke to be added. Rachel, in Catmorph, goes undercover and everything goes perfectly. So she tells the others. Except, no, it didn't. Visitor 3 requested that Ennis 226, Chapman's Yerk, kill her, and she's only spared by an unknown deal made by his host. Then she ends up pushing the 2-hour time limit to get some belly scratches and make Melissa feel better. Though, admittedly, I say that one is a little more worth lying about. Suspecting she's hiding something from them and being correct, when Rachel goes undercover again, the other Animorphs lie and have Jake secretly go along in a flea morph riding on her back. Chapman ends up catching them and escorts them to the abandoned construction site where Visitor 3 and a horde of Taxon and Hork-Bajir arrive to take them to space for some light refreshments and intense torturous questioning. Thankfully, due to the intervention of the other Animorphs and despite Visitor 3's insanely powerful rock-skinned monster morph, they're able to escape safely under 2 hours. It was a dark and stormy night. Sorry, I've always wanted to write that, but it really was a dark and stormy night. For highlights, I'm doing 5 sections per book. Coolest scenes, funniest quips, wildest moments, darkest realizations, and what used to be weirdest but is now best morphs. Let me know what you think of my choices and drop your own in the comments. For coolest scenes, I have 2 choices this time around for vastly different reasons. First up, I have to give it to the first chapter. My favorite animal is the peregrine falcon, and Tobias was always my favorite character growing up. I'd completely forgotten that Jake actually has a peregrine falcon morph himself, and they have this whole kicking it with the homies in the clouds opening scene, while also managing to ruin the day of some poachers. I couldn't have asked for better, although it did manage to remind me of that Maximum Ride book series, and therefore the film adaptation, so negative points for that. My other favorite scene was Rachel as Fluffer's McKitty in Chapman's basement being observed by Visitor 3. The I can't believe it's not an Andalite learns what a cat is from Ennis 226 and starts gushing about the many impressive aspects he sees in cats. Seeing that even a parasitic murderous alien slug recognizes cats are the superior pets, it instantly removes all negative points from this book and immediately validates the premise of this entire video series. Animorphs is definitely the best YA series of all time. Fight me. For funniest quips, unlike in book 1, Marco is in full force in this one. At a certain point, I just stopped highlighting his sarcastic responses that made me chuckle because I knew I couldn't fit them all into the script. I mean, seriously, we have him when he's seeing Rachel half out of bird morph and saying, "Nice chicken legs. Do those come in extra crispy too?" Then, after being called out for mocking Tobias, now trapped as a hawk, for eating rats, he goes, "I've been known to eat eggplant, so I guess I can't criticize." And later, when Rachel is acquiring a shrew morph, he quips, "Wait a minute, Rachel is going to become a shrew? How will we know when she's changed?" Wait, okay, hold on, now it got me. And those are only from the first 7 chapters. Top tier, Marco. Never stop being you. Stay golden, Gorilla Boy. When it comes to wildest moments, this book actually has a lot. There's so much tension in so many of the scenes. Honestly, those treated rather comedically, there is something terrifying about being a bird and having some beer-guzzling hillbillies taking potshots at you. Not including the fact that, as Rachel points out, if they wanted to leave that morph quickly, there's nowhere to go but down. For a more serious moment, I think the entire final segment easily takes the trophy. Rachel and Jake being caged by Chapman, with Jake as a flea unable to help, is a horrifying predicament. Also, Tobias rushing in to bring the real Fluffer McKitty, please paw up, to save Melissa. My heart was racing. Not to mention, the final battle scene as they rush to escape the spaceship and Visitor 3's powerful alien morph. It's all very heart-pounding stuff. As for darkest realizations, though the taxons being cannibals who eat their injured is pretty gross, it's apropos of everything we know about their species. Therefore, I think this one easily goes to everything we learn about Melissa's life. We knew from the last book what it was like to find out one of your siblings is a controller, but what if it was both your parents and you had no idea? Her pulling away from her friends, the lack of feeling in her parents' affectionate terms for her, and her sobbing, asking her pet cat why her parents don't love her anymore, it really drives home just how devastating that'd be to a child in real life. Hug your kids and help them with their homework, y'all. Please, don't be a controller. As for best morphs, some may say, did I change this from weirdest to best just so I could gush about Jake becoming a peregrine falcon one more time? To which I would say, absolutely. Don't let that trick you though. There's still plenty of trauma to go around. Rachel's experience as a shrew, unable to fight against his fear and rushing to escape the perceived threat of her own friends just to chow down on some maggots, that is certainly something worthy of the nightmares it gave her. And if we're being honest, as soon as they mentioned the flea idea, I was certain it'd be viable for weirdest too. But per Jake, it seems pretty chill. Though lacking any senses other than seeking warm blood might be kind of off-putting. Unless you're an Astarion simp, I guess. Fear is like a worm inside you. It eats you. It chews your guts. It bores holes in your heart. It makes you feel hollow, empty, alone. I really enjoyed book 2. As mentioned, it was an easy, quick read, but packed in a lot of suspense and humor along the way. The basic language and wording definitely shows these were kids' books, but I found that it made it simpler for me to just keep ignoring True Blood being on in the background and keep on reading. Recently, I saw the title of a video on YouTube called Animorphs: How to Write a Book Series Like a TV Show. I haven't watched it yet, but as I was making my way through The Visitor, like Terry Crews, I saw exactly what they meant. The Visitor absolutely feels like I just randomly caught an episode of some sci-fi teen show and decided to check it out. I'm not even sure you really even need the context of book 1 to get enjoyment out of this one, as it sums up all the backstory pretty well through sporadically deposited tidbits. Makes sense why Nick decided to adapt it. In terms of the negatives, I also think the episodic nature is a weakness. Some of the exposition feels constrained by not wanting to introduce new world-building details, like a filler or a bottle episode. And the ending is so insanely abrupt, even Fluffer McKitty wouldn't land on his feet after being hit with it. But I still recommend it as a short read for a cozy afternoon, snuggled up with your cat, but not your dog. Bad boy. Bad boy. Our journey continues next time with Animorphs Book 3, The Encounter, where we'll finally get inside the now feathered mind of everyone's favorite bird boy, Tobias. And if any character can prove Animorphs is the best YA book series of all time, fight me, it's definitely Tobias. Until then, please don't spy on your vice principal. They are not an alien, but do like and subscribe. It's how you keep the yerks out of your brain.